Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MLG World Final, Dota 2. We are still in our first series. It's Evil Geniuses going against Monkey Business. Before we do dissect game number 2 and hop into game number 3, just going to put out some side notes if you didn't already know. There is simultaneous gameplay happening right now. Virtus Pro and LGD are happening over at the MLG.tv/Dota Bravo stream. And currently, spoiler alert, VP are up one match and they're going into game 2 looking pretty damn strong. Also, a side note, there is a bit of a change-up. The next series that's going to be happening here on the main stage will be Secret versus MVP Phoenix. Originally, we said it was going to be Cloud9 versus CDEC, but there has been a change-up. So now that those notes are out of the way, gentlemen, welcome back, and we're getting ready for Game 3 hype. So we saw Monkey Business look strong. It's hard to point out exactly who is the best, but that's what makes the team so good. So what's it on Evil Geniuses now to kind of bounce back and play their game again?
I think they just need to bring the same kind of strategic advantage that they did in Game 1. I really feel the synergy of their lineup in Game 1 was a lot better. In Game 2, I felt like they had a great lineup as well, but the whole Lich pick really messed up their lanes. They went for an all-in play in doing an aggressive tri-lane, which is... I don't think it was the wrong call at all, because they expected the dual lanes to go with the Lich on the off-lane and everything. And Wraith King and Ancient Aberration being one of the best tri-lane heroes. I think it was the right call to do, but then the Queen of Pain on the middle lane against the Shadow Fiend just dominated so hard that there's no way for them to actually have a comeback mechanism.
But I actually thought, I still kind of think that the last pick Razor was a bit of a misstep, because I thought part of the reason that they had to go for that sort of all-in aggro try was to try and guarantee the Razor a 1v1 lane. You can't leave Razor against a Doom and a Lich in that safe lane. So I thought that was a little, maybe a very rare mistake by Peter going for that hero fifth. But the nice thing about this team, both in drafting and in execution, you will rarely, if ever, see them make the same mistake twice.
I think more importantly, what they could have done was just pick up Queen of Pain themselves. Yeah, you're up against the Doombringer, but he still has to assign that Doom to one hero and one hero alone, right? So yeah, maybe the Queen of Pain becomes the primary target, but she'll still have a great time on the middle lane up against anything that they could have picked from Monkey Business, and they could have safe laned the Shadow Fiend instead and just farmed up Arteezy, who's very comfortable playing a Shadow Fiend as well, even though it's maybe not on the mid lane.
Let me toss another idea at you, because I think teams fall into this trap, particularly lands where they start getting really locked in on countering one hero. I thought EG maybe got a little bit too locked in countering the Doom in their draft and didn't think about the early laning advantage that they could potentially give up to Monkey Business.
Now, was the Doom performance enough that maybe EG need to respect it and do a bit of an early ban? It is, hard to say now with the picks coming out now.
I'm not giving away that here.
At the same time, it's not so much the performance. Yeah, Moonmeander played well and everything, but it's more the fact of what it does to their strategic phase and then later on how they want to approach the 5-on-5 combats. Because the Doombringer, if they don't go for heroes that are obviously countered by it, if they don't let their draft be countered by the Doombringer pickup, even then, they'll have some kind of hero that'll bind together their 5-on-5 or their late game that the Doom will then be used on instead of it. So rather than saying, oh, we're scared of Doom, they either ban it out, of course, but that would be the natural way of doing it, or they just pick a ton of heroes that Doom is particularly good against, oh, okay, let's just get the Ember Spirit and the Queen of Pain and so forth and so forth.
Can't doom everybody.
Exactly.
Now, you ate your Wheaties this morning, man. You're on point. I like this a lot. And there's the Queen of Pain ban really early on from EG. I actually like that.
Now, Monkey Business with a secondary ban here, still a lot of very valuable early grabs. We have to see, of course, if we're done already seeing the Alchemist, or if it's something that is going to be coming back up. If they're going to put more value into going for the Shadow Fiend again early here. Now, Doom's
I think it has value doing it now. And this is also, you see, the Queen of Pain ban, obviously, because they have the first pick, they don't need to worry about the Doombringer pickup. And at the same time, something we talked to Poppy about in New York is the fact that it's pretty easy to just pick and ban around, taking teams out of their comfort zone, especially when it's newer teams who are yet to find more than one style of play, which Monkey Business, sure, they have different strategies, but they still rely a lot on their players performing on these
I still think it's harder against a team like Monkey Business, where you have veteran players like Fly and like No-Tail that have really diverse hero players.
Yeah. Definitely, but at the same time, when Miracle performs, he usually tends to do it on heroes such as Queen of Pain or the Shadow Fiend. Having the first pick, knowing that they'll ban out the Doombringer, banning out the Queen of Pain immediately takes away the two heroes that he's most comfortable playing.
Oh, I would disagree with that, by the way. I actually think I still want to see a Miracle AM. And we were talking about this between the games. I don't think AM is a hero that you can first phase pick in this patch, but I want to see it so
But that then
bad.
goes back to the fact that then you'll no longer see Miracle on the middle lane, and maybe they're more comfortable forcing No-Tail in on the middle lane.
Ooh, I was going to say, is Tusk Undying possible 1-2 punch? Could be coming out for your Monkey business. They love the Tusk, and they love the Fly Undying. So
I don't know that you need to go in on the Undying, though, this early. I think the Tusk is just almost the perfect opening here, but I'd rather see them leave things a little bit more open. Yeah, the Beastmaster, again, you're really leaving your draft wide open at this point. Both of these heroes, any position 2 through 4 for the Beastmaster, I wouldn't be surprised.
They're very comfortable playing that as well on 3 different players now. Moonmeander on the off lane, we just saw No-Tail with it in a safe lane, and then of course we've seen in the past, especially in the defense, how Crit has been taking up this Beastmaster support role.
Very flexible.
They just really like the skill set that he brings to it. Even if he doesn't get an early Necromicon, the fact that he has this Primal Roar that shuts down a target regardless of BKB, then of course the map vision that it gives through the Hawk and everything, and then for the late game, the Aura, naturally one of the better auras in the late game, depending on how much physical damage you want to deal.
Now, history does repeat itself. They're going to go second for the PPD hero. It had been AA for the past 2 games, and I was toying with the idea maybe something like a Dazzle because you get that minus armor synergy along with Shadow Fiend, but they're going to opt for the Winter Wyvern here. Snowball into Winter's Curse would be wonderful, but what else does Winter Wyvern really offer that Evil Genius have to go for it here and now? I don't think it was going to be like any sort of ban target, so they could have waited a bit, but I guess they want to still keep the draft very open without.
At the same time, it's really good at just shielding whoever is the target of Primal Roar,
exactly.
right? So.
No, it's a Winter Wyvern it's an excellent support against single target initiation, because with the Cold Embrace and just the Winter's Curse, she has kind of the ability to it's a get out of jail free card for the whole team, really.
And you really got to appreciate how PPD goes about these drafts. Every time he has that second pick, he uses it on a support that is the natural counter to whatever Monkey Business has been picking so far.
Yeah.
It's been AA in the other 2 games because they had this healing tank type of hero. Now they have 2 single target heroes that are really good at just focusing down one key hero really quickly, and who better to pick than Winter Wyvern? Like, it may be Omni Knight, but that's a bit early.
No, I've been accused of praising Peter a little bit too much on these panels, but it's just very difficult because he's able to find counter picks really reliably, and in this case, okay, fine. Bring your whole team into a snowball and initiate in on us with the Tusk. We're happy to get a 5-man Winter's Curse off for free.
Now, whatever happened to the days of, I would used to make a recommendation that you see a Tusk rolling your way. Earthshaker was a solid support for a while that could be able to deal with that. How come we're not seeing it anymore?
It's been an extremely popular pickup in the European Dota scene.
Yeah, but
ever
it's been
since
brutal.
the new version.
It's been like Earthshaker's like 38% this patch. I kind of don't know why that hero is struggling as badly as it is.
Nope. I think it's a great hero by all means, and in most of the games that I've been having the pleasure of commentating as of late, it's actually been a pretty dominant hero as well. So that's an interesting statistic that you bring up. I wouldn't have guessed it.
I was really surprised
to be that good. But yeah, neither team has picked up the Earthshaker in either of these games, and I don't think we are going to see any change in that, especially not with how Monkey Business drafts. They do these very early on melee pickups.
I actually think, can you pick up the AM right here? Because they're banning Miracle Heroes like nothing else. Can you pull the trigger on the AM right now?
I would be very scared of doing so, just because of how much it limits your ability to interchange the roles. What they have right now, and what we've seen them, we've seen them draft, is how much versatility their draft really offers in the first 3 picks. So if you pick into an AM right now, Evil Geniuses will immediately know that that's their safe lane carry position, and now they can expect the Beastmaster to probably go on the off lane and the Tusk being support. So I'd be very fearful of doing that, especially because it's a hero everyone's forgotten about, but I still think it holds a lot of value, especially against an early AM pickup, the Bloodseeker.
One thing that pops out, Bloodseeker, come on.
Who else? Who else? There's the Naga.
I hate that feeling. I was like, and I had to chuckle, of course, about the Bloodseeker, but I'm like, Undying, great response. Something Fear had been going to in that 4th position was playing the Naga. He played it at ESL 1, and we know how he is capable of microing. The song helps with taking down the Tombstone, and EG do pounce on it here.
And a great setup for the Requiem of Souls from the Shadow Fiend as well. So Not a bad pickup. It's been in New York, especially. We saw this that the Naga Siren was a first ban for most teams up against any teams they were playing against.
Yeah, and it really does. It can also help early defensively to mitigate some of the laning pressure that we know is going to be coming out of Monkey Business. I believe Fly 6-0 with Undying with their current roster. You know they're going to run that Tusk Undying combo. This is going to be run at you Dota, but you've got the Cold Embrace, and you've also just got the Naga Siren that starts off extremely tanky with that 6 armor.
It's hard to say though, gentlemen. Like, what's the Moon hero here? Has it already been decided? There's still so much flexibility out there. And
well, Moon can play anything. I mean, that's why I love the guy, and I really he's starting to be a player that I really enjoy watching because he does a lot of very little things to create advantages for his team. But I think the big question for Monkey Business right now is what's the miracle hero? I feel like they got to pick it up right here.
I think this fourth pick will definitely reveal whether it's No Tail or Moon playing the Beastmaster.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think you can AM here. I really do.
What about Wind Ranger? What if they want to keep Miracle mid and pull out something like a Wind Ranger?
I'm a huge Wind Ranger fan, especially after we saw Wii from Secret.
There it is.
That's the Entermate's pick.
I know. This guy is just he's special on this hero. I mean, the stats they're not eye-popping, but they don't really tell the story. Like he had a game that he was only quote unquote 400 GPM, but it was because the game was over at 14 minutes. He's very comfortable on this hero at all phases of the game. He's not as susceptible to getting shut down early in lane.
So two things reading from these, how the draft is going. Evil Geniuses, I feel like want to force No Tail into a mid role. They're more comfortable playing up against him than Miracle. And it feels like watching the ban phase, it tells the tale of someone who just really wants Miracle out of the mid lane. They almost forced him into this Anti-Mage's pickup, knowing that he'll probably be playing that one. And at the same time, on Monkey Business side of things, they feel like if you take Universe out of his comfort zone, you remove all the heroes that he could go to. We've seen the Clockwork ban coming out as a steady third ban every single game. It feels like they think that that's their recipe for success.
I think you're on point here, but I don't necessarily know that it's all about the laning matchup. Rather, what I think it is they want to force Monkey into playing a certain tempo that they're very comfortable against. They don't want Miracle on a hero where he could just take over the game at 10 to 15 minutes. They want Miracle on a hero where, yes, he has snowball potential, but he's going to be relatively limited in that 10 to 20 minute period where Monkeys like to apply a lot of pressure.
Is it a concern at all, gentlemen, that Monkey Business have now committed for 4 melee heroes?
It is
here?
for me. I'm scared out of my mind watching 4 melee heroes
but they're
and
just
no
so
real
run
support.
at you heroes. Like I get nervous when they're a passive melee lineup, but these are 4 heroes that can get in your face.
Get a techies then.
Oh, there's a Nightstalker pickup.
There it is.
That's surprising. So it's probably a Narcisi Naga Siren.
Or Universe Night Stalker, and
or
they keep
Universe
Fear
Night
on
Stalker. We have seen some offlane Night Stalkers as of late. It's not a bad choice by any means. And then once he gets face boots up, he's almost too fast to catch.
Is that your play here?
I mean, my play would be putting the Siren on the core, but I do think it's likely to be the offlane Night Stalker and still a 4-position Naga Siren with the carry position from Evil Genius yet to be picked.
Do you think it might be it depends on Evil Genius how they want to dictate the pace, if they want to match the late game potential with the AM with their own Naga, or maybe if they get an aggressive setup with a Night Stalker, they don't have to worry about trying to push the game too long and they want to end it sooner than later.
But but again, it's a risk.
It's either or, I think. It's like
exactly.
You can go with the Naga Siren for the carry position and then you play for the late game, or you go with the Night Stalker and then you follow up potentially even with a you know what I'd love here? I would love a Universe Sand King. The setup with the sleep and being able to counter this aggression from Monkey Business, and the fact that it's not too shabby up against melee heroes with the constant buffs to Caustic Finale. I think Sand King is a great hero.
We have to see now, though, what is Monkey Business going to round out their draft with here? Hopefully something ranged.
Yeah,
is it going to be side by side with the AM probably in the safe lane, you think?
I think a Witch Doctor would just generally be
Dazzle? Dazzle, I like Witch Doctor too.
You need a crit hero. They probably aren't going to Jakiro here. Rubik
They're lacking on
is okay,
stuns.
I guess.
Well, actually, they need a mid hero. This isn't a support.
No, they can no-tail
Beastmaster
Beastmaster
mid.
this. And wow, they're going to moon Nature's Prophet.
So it's a Beastmaster mid, Nature's Prophet on the offlane, double support, Undying Tusk, and then the Anti-Mid. That's This is interesting.
This is their style, though.
Yeah, you would think that in any other team that the Tusk Undying is just way too greedy of a support duo, but Monkey Business always seem to make that work.
Right.
They're very fight intense.
And it's because they don't necessarily play it greedy. I mean, this is going to be run at you and then TP in Dota. And that's my big concern. I thought your breakdown of the core Naga was really good, but my big concern is can the Arteezy mid Naga sustain that kind of early pressure?
At the same time, what can really deal with this goofy lineup of Monkey Business? It has a bit of annoyance from all levels alike.
Oh, God.
All right.
Okay, so it's funny because nobody ever talks about this, but Lycan is actually Arteezy's second best hero. He has the second most wins on Lycan of any hero in his pool. I like this pick.
It was the go-to hero in the Frankfurt Majors qualifier as well. For the teams winning, they would just do it on the back of this lycanthrope as well. So well, I didn't think of it, but I'm not too surprised either.
Didn't he used to also play it pretty often in the mid lane? Is that too far-fetched for him to play it mid lane even here?
I think when we have a Shadow Fiend up against the Beastmaster matchup, I would prefer just really trying to dominate the Beastmaster.
I agree.
With the Shadow Fiend.
And you don't take Sumail out of his comfort zone like that. But we wanted a Game 3. We got a Game 3. We're going to get to see a Miracle AM against a Sumail SF. Let's go.
Couldn't ask for a better time than now, gentlemen. Evil Genius is going against Monkey Business, the match to be starting here and now, and we're going to go ahead and throw it right over to our casters, Toby and Merlini. Gentlemen, take it away.
Thank you very much. Yes, we're back here. Our deciding game, Monkey versus EG. And again, we find ourselves with a 4 melee lineup for Monkey. Merlini, how is this meant to work for them?
Well, they don't have heavy AoE like they did the last time. I mean, kind of Winter's Curse, but most of the time in the early game, it'll be like Tuscan and Dying kind of running around, and later game, it'll be Anti-Mage. So you don't really have to worry about the 4 melee lineup nearly as much as the last time. There's no RP. I thought it was interesting what Milk said about the Miracle versus Sumail matchup. In game number 1, they let Sumail do whatever he want in that one-on-one matchup, and he just completely destroyed them. Game number 2, it was kind of underhanded because they had the Lich help him out, and this game, it looks like EG wants to pair him in a straight one-on-one with the Shadow Fiend, but Monkey Business don't really want to do that, at least not with Miracle in that regard. So it's just an interesting note.
They just push Miracle to the safe lane. Notar will take up his normal role in the mid.
Yeah, but this is not like a, No-Tail's not a super snowball-y guy, especially with the Beastmaster. I think his Meepo can just completely take over the game, but Beastmaster can, and we usually see it from Fada, but from a lot of other Beastmasters, it's more of a passive, safe sort of game. And there's different ways that Monkey Business can win, right? It's like a Queen of Pain or whatever Miracle wants to play that just goes completely out of control, or, a kind of safe and slower style that we often see. And it looks like they want to take it a little bit slow and safe and see if EG's comfortable with that play.
There's a couple of other lanes too which we should keep our eye on. The fact we have Lycan as well being picked up. LGD were actually playing this up against Virtus.pro. I don't know if that game is still going on, but it's over on our MLG Bravo stream. If you want to go check that one out, definitely go do so. But it's going to be the Lycan off lanes. They tried to do this before with the Razor up against a heavy amount of slows. This time around, though, Fly doesn't offer really the same kind of feeling. Neither does the Anti-Mage. They're a lot more, we'll just make you a little bit worried to stay in the lane more than anything else, especially with an Anti-Mage that leveled up Blink first as opposed to going for Mana Burn.
You remember that T1 fight on top last game that just lost EG all control of their jungle as well as the early game?
All 4 of them onto the tower.
I think something like that could potentially happen with this game too, because Arteezy with the early TP out. They have a lineup that can fight like every minute. You kind of want to fight around Tombstone and Roar every single time, and then you have Nature's Prophet who has very little downtime. So they're looking to take fights, and then eventually EG will probably break at some point because they have some greedy heroes like Shadow Fiend and Lycan both require a lot of farm. NP kind of does at some point, but Beastmaster and Nature's Prophet can kind of...
Really low. Miracle, he'll have to blink forward for this one. 2 more attacks. He can't actually get a Miracle into the tower!
Wow.
Fierce can't take the first blood. The Soul Rip will still ensure the kill.
I think that was a misclick. He right-clicked on the tower. Anti-Mage is very fast, so I thought he was going to catch up to the Naga Siren, who is slightly faster.
Man, that was the opportunity Monkey thought they had. The fact that Lycan just disappeared out of the lane, they thought, you're on, okay, maybe this is the go point. But now, the lane rotation already happening. So Universe, with his early levels, he can just void farm this off lane if things get a little bit rough, but he also wants to get that space for the levels. Arteezy, it's a pretty decent lane for him when he's got these balls, but he's actually going for a 0-1-1 build at the early stages of this game, up against Nature's Prophet now.
That's fine. You don't generally have the mana to sustain casting Wolves early. You want to wait until level 2, but level 3 Wolves are actually really strong. And you don't have a CM on your team, which you can actually get Wolves much earlier. And Fly is doing what he does on the Undying. He is actually absurd on this hero. The amount of aggression that he puts out.
As long as he can, like, the aggression is good for him, but I'm thinking about what's going to happen during the team fights. And this is where the Naga Siren really works so well for EG, where if he levels up Tombstone, which you would expect, obviously, because it's an Undying Tombstone, just bread and butter kind of thing, and you get that level 6, okay, that's not great. You can't click on Treants. That's not a terrific thing. Thanks very much, Valve, patching after game 1. Yeah, but you're able to just turn on that Song with the Siren and then get rid of the Tombstone and then continue on the fight. You can reset yourself up.
That's why you fight constantly. You can cast 3 Tombstones per song, theoretically, and you're just always looking to take fights early. Lycan also needs a time to build up, get his Vlads, get his Medallion, do Broche, and Anti-Mage is somewhat similar, but you don't really have that much of a tower pushing threat if the Lycan's off farming, whereas you have a lot of tower pushing threat if the Anti-Mage is off farming.
What do you actually want to see out from Sumail? We did see the tankier build coming in with like SMY kind of style before. Is this going to be the mech game for him?
I think it's a mech game. Looking at their early game, you have to ensure that he's surviving. He's almost certainly going to be the Roar target because he's the most important hero, and channeling a Requiem when melee heroes are running in to finish a Roar target that isn't Shadow Fiend is going to be devastating for them. So they just have to be very careful about who they engage on. I mean, you might want to Roar the Winter's Wyvern too.
I'm loving how early he comes on this, but okay. The fact there's an Observable still on bottom lane, it's only seeing Fear. It's already been called out to the Nature's Prophet, and Moon is already off that top lane. Understanding we just hit the nighttime cycle, and Universe wants to have this rotation. He's going to find one. It's actually No-Tail. While the message might have reached the Nature's Prophet, No-Tail only barely makes it to the tree line in time.
I'm a little surprised that Fear didn't go for a 1-on-1 build. I think when you're put in this sort of situation where you're just completely sacked, you want the mirror image just to harass if you don't have vision especially. Because now he's kind of in this weird position where if he ever goes up, he's going to get harassed because he doesn't know where the Tusk is ever. And he has to play like the Tusk is right in this tree line where he could just always die. But with the mirror image, you can kind of at least force him to show himself all the time. And he can't play greedy. He can't check runes. You can always check to see if he has a TP like he does right now. And they can't stack and pull like you would want him to do with the AM in the game.
I was actually waiting for Moon to head back up to top lane now that Universe has run the entire length of the river from top to mid to bottom.
It's still scary. He has Quelling Blade and it's nighttime. You'd rather just not take risks and farm that super safe area if you don't need the stacks right now. If they had a Shadow Fiend in the mid lane, you probably wouldn't. There's a Roar in mid.
Speaking of mid, yep, it's SF being controlled. Moon's going to TP in for this one with the bonus damage. PBD's making it difficult, but not impossible. Fly, that's now the second kill for the game, and with the Sprout controlled, PPD will also drop. That is already a level 6 Nature's Prophet with the kill, allowing him to go for that Wrath of Nature, which is what got the eventual last bit of damage in on the Wyvern.
This is a way too fast pace of a game for EG to skate by on. The early Tusk Undying, which was revealed fairly early. Lycan does not thrive in this sort of game.
They're going to try and defend this. The ensnares over on Fly. The Razors can do some serious work here. You need Sumail to get this last, to get back up in the Souls, and there is up to 27. And they'll be able to deny up this mid-tier 1 tower while getting a revenge kill on Undying. He was the 2-for-1 now, as far as kill count goes. See, the game is definitely going to be fast-paced, because you get kills like this and you instantly turn into a push for Monkey. But there's still a lot of farm coming into the cores, and these need to be shut down. That's why Moon comes to the top lane. You go for the ulti and the Lycan, the Sprout will come out as more of a blocking mechanism, but they end up blocking themselves out with their own trees.
That was almost a really good Sprout.
Almost.
That trapped him, and he would have to run all the way around and take a couple of extra tower hits, or he had to stay there and just get pummeled on by 2 heroes. But there was this tiny spot where he could run through to the river. Nice play.
So I'm loving the rotation. I'm loving the push. Makes for a very dynamic game out from Monkey and EG. The only question for me is like how much time can they buy, and when will their hand be forced? Because they're already been forced to look at these rotations, worried about their heroes, they're falling back into the jungle, and this is giving Miracle a lot of space on this anti-mage in the bottom lane, something which has to be slowed down.
We're not really used to seeing Universe in this type of off-lane role, though. Nightstalker is much different than like the Clocks and the Darkseers that he is very used to playing. Like Darkseer, you farm mech and then you go and do stuff. Clockwork, you generally get level 6 and then you go and do stuff. But Nightstalker, you hit level 6 around the second daytime, and you really want him to be really effective during that first daytime. So he has to start moving around a lot earlier, and Monkey is to start taking full advantage of that. He's never in the right place to scout out these ganks.
And Sumail just gets shredded apart.
Yeah, he TPs in, but the damage has already been done. Like, they've already wasted their first nighttime. A 0-0-0 Night Stalker when second day hits is really not what you want from that hero.
You're right. It's normally Universe. Yeah, he is, but he's playing that prediction game. It's like, well, I know where they're going to come. Speaking about heroes like a Clockwork, you've got that rocket. It scouts out for him. It's fantastic, but
I know he has a game sense to kind of know where they are, but he has to physically be there so that so that you have the night vision, and then oftentimes you can pull them into a trap. You don't really want to pull them in a trap because you don't want to fight in a tombstone and snowball, but you get the idea. You want to make them feel threatened. It's like, oh, has Night Stalker scouted us out? Are there 3 heroes here? Is there a Cold Embrace? Is there going to be a Song of the Siren that we have to walk into? As of right now, it's like, okay, roar, kill, no counterplay from EG. So they're going to keep doing it until they get punished for it, which might be way too late. It might be like a 0-4 on one of their heroes, on like Lycan, before they're able to react. But I expect them to, you know, kind of rectify that mistake for the second nighttime.
It's kind of, well, maybe it's a good thing for EG, the fact that it has been Sumail that's been picked off twice now with this early movement. Because if it was, in fact, Arteezy dying, you wouldn't have him near his net worth. And he's still pretty damn low. Like, he's sitting at 2.6k roughly in the net worth. This isn't fast enough to get into Roshan with an early like medallion as well as Vlad's. In fact, he's just going directly in for the Vladimir's offering as well.
Lycan doesn't farm as fast as Anti-Mage, especially when he can't push towers, and that's a big problem, I think, for the Lycan coming up, especially because he's relying on Ancients. It's the time that he has to move in between the camps, and like ideally right now you'd be able to scoot into the Radiant jungle and farm up that, and let your teammate farm up the Dire jungle, but he can't do that. The tower's still up, and they still have map control, and on top of that, they're fighting during the daytime. Like, this is just the worst time to go into the Radiant jungle, and he's not going to because that's just completely unsafe. So where are they supposed to get the farm? Where is Shadow Fiend supposed to catch up?
SF is doing it with the help of Fear, but Fear just got scouted out as well by this Hawk, which is sitting right over the top of Roshan. So a 3-man smoke move. They look for Naga Siren. They understand this Song of the Siren is what can stop this fight. And now Fear, he'll get it off. They catch out 5 heroes around the tombstone, but Fear's got no way to get out of this one. He just has to TP. There was no way to walk out of the shards area, and there was no help coming from the rest of EG.
So that's the green light. Okay, let's pressure 2 towers. Now they don't have Song of the Siren. How are they really going to fight us? They don't have Winter's Curse yet, which is also a big problem on PBD. He's been underleveled in games number 1 and game number 3. And without that ultimate, it's another free tower. And then this further limits EG's farm. How are they going to do the Ancients when this tower's already being pressured?
It's almost impossible. How do you even slip in for Roshan? It's just not possible. So Fear, they are going to move forward, and there's that blink away. Fear's hoping for some kind of ensnare catch, but even if he does grab the Nature's Prophet, he can't keep him there
They're waiting
long
for
enough to
Tombstone.
kill him.
It's 10 seconds left until Tombstone, and they can just take a fight wherever they want. I don't think they have the damage to kill the Tombstone. They pretty much just have to run away, especially with Roar. When you have all these melee heroes beating on it, Roar is actually a big deal with the pushback.
You'd have to come in with like an ulti and just go nuts.
Yeah, but he needs to catch up. He needs to farm.
Yep.
They need him to be able to contest.
At least it's only attack numbers now, so it's not actually the real damage itself that has to come out. So you just need your attack speed to do the work. Universe already TPing out in the top lane.
Let's see if they can push again before nighttime. I guess darkness is up, so it's not that big of a deal. But when you're fighting around a tombstone, you're not really worried about vision. It's like, okay, whatever, they see us, but they can't kill the tombstone.
Yep. And maybe that's not really the problem, though. I mean, we still have to keep looking over to SF because he's hit the nice point of the second level up in Requiem of Souls.
I think they need to take a fight, though, before Song of the Siren is up, because once they have Song of the Siren, they can actually combo with Requiem, and he's a level 11 Shadow Fiend. He's died a couple of times, but he's caught up fine in experience.
At the same time, like, if you want to look for the exact moment the
Big fight on
gave
bottom.
you on the... Okay, are they already going in? It is. Yeah, there's your curse over on Universe, keeping him out. Sorry, the Cold Embrace, sorry, holding him in position, as they've already brought down the Tusker. But Lycan just triggering the ulti, middle lane, the blink away, Miracle. He's actually stuck in the tree line. So if Sumail only knew he would have gone for that blind raise into the tree line, but with the vision the way it is,
but see how quickly
just
Universe
enough.
adapted. He's actually the one that tanked the roar that time. He's actually the one up in front to get vision of those other heroes and popping the darkness. They're really quick to realize that, okay, we didn't do anything with the Night Stalker the first night. We have to do it the second night. We have to protect the other heroes by kind of pushing it around in the fog and seeing where these heroes are. And then by doing that, we can secure farm for our other heroes and kind of waste their ultimates, especially when Song of the Siren is on cooldown. So they kind of got away with that 3-minute long cooldown. It's just cooling down in 20 seconds. And Roar is in 30 seconds. They're getting okay, like Necro 1 on Beastmaster, but Anti-Mage is the big one that's winning out, as well as Nature's Prophet, who has a completed Orchid to his name.
Yeah, I'm wondering exactly who this is for. Like,
That's Naga Siren.
Well, can he get it off? That's always the problem. Like, you have to TP him behind the line if you want to try and attack into the Naga Siren.
That's where they need a Hawk. They need the Hawk to gain better vision than the Night Stalker, and it's not an easy task. You can also use it on the Winter Wyvern, so you can actually cover your Roar, but Naga Siren is going to cover everything. So you ideally want to disable her.
So even just, it's also these Wolves which are out. They'll be able to scout the Hawks moving into position if they're micro.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Wolves. So that's an extra scouting tool that EG has, as well as Mirror Image. So they have
hunting the kill. Universe, he's going to need help and just decides to TP out. Put the silence on Notel so they can just all TP out. A haste-ruined Beastmaster is nothing they want to try and contest at the moment. They want to just keep this farm going. Sumail actually steals one of the Radiant range creeps so he can start stacking up these Ancients for himself.
We're slowly starting to see the difference in between Anti-Mage and Lycan grow. It's 2,000 net worth in between those two. The overall net worth, you would expect Monkey to be ahead because they have more towers as well as more map control, but I'm really eyeing the Anti-Mage versus Lycan.
And Fly being slowed up. He can get in range for the ensnare. He will be able to. In Universe, he's got another Void off cooldown, and that should be enough to kill off Fly, even with the Soul Rip. You lock the Beastmaster in position. That's the Wyvern going to work, and Fear needs that Song of the Siren to trigger, but he can't do it. Beastmaster commits the Roar as well, and Universe being pushed a long way down. These Undying minions chased him down that far. Yep, Courier, careful. I'll be back out to safety, and Universe still can't TP out, but he's got Face Boost, so he can outrun anyone on the Monkeys lineup.
So that's a Battle Fury up for Anti-Mage, and Lycan is still struggling to get his second item after the Vlads. So he's a good 2,000 gold ahead, and eventually he's going to be enough ahead where he can just solo Roche. They still can scout it out with like Invis Wolves, so maybe if Monkey Business is careless, they can steal the Roche, but Anti-Mage is well on his way to become that typical super stacked Anti-Mage.
It's the Miracle AM that the panel were just begging for almost. And Monkey's going to try and make more space for him. A 3-man smoke gank, obviously doesn't have to be a 4 because you got an Nature's Prophet that can just TP in. It's a level 2 Breath of Nature as well.
It's still darkness though. They have to be a little bit careful. I think they would have preferred it maybe like 10 seconds later. But
it's going to wear off in 3 seconds.
They're trying to time it with the darkness wearing off. Still have just a tiny bit of daytime or nighttime left. 30 seconds left.
Well, they're pretty damn close to RTZ.
Yeah, look at his wolves. He knows. He kind of knows where they are.
It's like, he actually turns around if he knows. Okay, now the smoke will break. Moves up high, and the shards are well off target.
That was excellent play by Arteezy. That is such an important gank to dodge right there. You waste so much time of Monkey Business.
I wonder if they scout out the fact, too, that Monkey's put down the Observer Ward, because the ping's coming out from Fly saying this Obs Ward is down. Now he actually pings on Arteezy himself, and they smoke underneath the Observer Ward. TBD thinks it's safe to run up, and that's why Notel just sits on the cliffside. The smoke will break.
What is Notel doing?
The fact that they're, and yep, Notel, he was just trying to break the smoke. That was the only reason he was there, and the shards fly down. They need a Song of the Siren up right now. 3 heroes caught out. Wrath of Nature will also kick in. Nature's Prophet a little bit further back, and Requiem, they missed the timing! The song was a little bit too late, and this will now be a real disaster for EG. They need more damage, but it's just not going to be there. A 1-for-1 trade-off. PPD has to cold embrace himself for the moment. Mofia, he can't move out. He's trapped in the tree line next to Tombstone. 3 heroes down for EG, and the missed timing there of the Requiem of Souls really cost them.
Just a slight misfire by them, and now they're just completely on the back foot. It's daytime, they have no ultis up, and all they get was Undying. Pretty smart for Undying to wait for the Tombstone. He didn't place it before the song. That was really good, but I mean, honestly, it looked like Beastmaster unintentionally popped the smoke because all his team was backing off to the left. and Beastmaster was over there trying to finish the camp, and then he's like, oh crap, they're smoked, and then he runs to the left, and then eventually they all get slept to what could have been a disastrous fight with the Winter's Curse plus the Requiem. But as you said, it was slightly mistimed and didn't seem like there was full damage coming out from that level 2 Requiem of Souls. But that could have been a turning point. That was what EG was looking for. They wanted that fight.
Yep. Then they really pushed for it too.
Yeah.
If Universe didn't, because the fact that Smoke broke, revealed to PPD saying, okay, Beastmaster on the cliff side, and then Universe instantly hooked in from the side.
Well, also the Observer Ward. Without that Observer Ward, I think they would have been caught completely off guard.
Yep.
And someone wouldn't have been in position to cast their spells.
Here comes Monkeys again. Smoke movement. They put up the Hawk, and they're going to be able to find Arteezy. No ultimate available. He has to go into the tree line. Necro Units will be summoned as well. In fact, they just cut through the tree line to try and find him. Universe as well as, yeah, okay, they're just saying you just bail out. Let him die. There's no curse available. You have used Darkness, but there's no reason to get your SF killed again.
That's one downside of having SF and Lycan on the same team. Both of them need the jungle.
Moon's going to solo top. Fear's actually locked inside the Sprout. Okay, he's going to TP out in time. There's no extra stunts available, but this is now Naga TP back to base, and that opens up Roshan.
And Moon is going back to that Octarine Core build. I think he actually got in a game that wasn't quite as notable as the Alliance game, but he actually, I think, really likes this build. And nope, no disables.
Already used his stun. And this is another one of these games where it just seems to be such momentum going one way. In this case, it's going the way of Monkeys.
Look, the
bottom lane, there goes Wyvern as well.
Anti-Mage and Lycan are at 4,000 gold. I don't think he'll be able to catch up, especially after the Roshan. There's so little catch-up potential for Lycan. He also has to go for a fighting item, the BKB, whereas Anti-Mage can still commit to the usual Yasha into Manta style and still accelerate his farm while Lycan is lagging behind.
Yep. The difference in this game, though, is there is wave clear for EG. So they do actually have like illusions in a Riptide. You've got Razors, you've got Splinter Blast, you got, I don't say Lycan Wolves, but you've got some things to work with.
You can creep skip with Lycan Wolves, come on.
You can.
Arteezy likes to creep skip.
Samael, no tell. He's got Necro Books off cooldown. The second he actually had him off cooldown, he gets just in range of Samael. Samael with a haste rune, however, running himself out, needs to bottle charge up, can't do it in time. You will get the curse off, and this has to be a revenge right now for EG. They burn through no tell. They're chasing after Fly. The ensnare will lock him down. The Tombstone is on the hillside, but there's no other movement coming in from Monkeys. They just mop up the rest of Necro Units, give the extra gold, even if they do take the extra damage as well. But Miracle's still taking a tier 2 tower in mid while all this is going on.
It turned out being that kind of bad for Monkeys, 2 for 1, but it was, I think it was a good move by them. They kind of always wanted to make sure EG's not farming and always feel scared to go into their own jungle, and what better way to do that than Lycan, or sorry, a Beastmaster trying to just solo kill someone. And he's still going to be scared going to his own jungle. He was barely able to not die during the roar because of the haste, but he's not always going to have the haste, and he's still going to have that psychology, okay, jungle is just not safe. Maybe if Night Stalker's there, but they don't have any vision inside their own jungle.
There's nowhere to be safe. You can't even keep the lanes in control anymore. As Nature's Prophet's finished up the full Aghanim Scepter, so we're going to have millions of Treants running across this map against the EG line. And you get Initiation as well up for the Tusker, so Blink is available for him, which means Lycan running around in the middle of the fights, BKB or not, he's still going to have real issues.
It's kind of cool how smoothly Monkeys lineup transitions. It's like early game is dominated by Tuscan and Dying, mid game is dominated by Beastmaster and Anti-Mage for the late game, whereas Nature's Prophet, he kind of shifts his playstyle from early to mid to late. Early game is TPing with Teleport and getting damage from Wrath, and then mid to late is making sure lanes are pushed out and controlling the Naga Siren with the Orchid Malevolence. So kind of beautiful to see this all line up.
It's just one of these. It's the reason why a lot of people, I think, have fallen in love with the way Monkeys has played Dota 2 just over the last, like, 2-3 weeks, where they do just have this different kind of style, and it's not one of this, like, oh, okay, yeah, things go wrong in game number 1, but they're just displaying just how dynamic they can be.
And Fly always has really solid drafts, and I was talking to someone who had some, like, you know, they were listening into Complexity when they were having their TI5 streak and doing fairly well. And I think Swindles was like the actual drafter with a little captain sign in-game. But from what I heard, it was mostly Fly conducting the drafts and directing where the overall strategy should go and the bans and picks that come along with it.
Well, he's got so much experience behind him too. That was always one of those things too, which you look back at his older team. Okay, we might... Notel's not going to reach, or maybe he will. Yeah, he does. With that blink forward, they reach him in time, and actually keeping Fear out. Moon was able to catch out Fear. You might Glimmer Cape through this, but he couldn't Song of the Siren to be able to protect his teammate. And with a Treant, there's one in front of him, and that'll buy time now for Notel to move forward, as well as Crit. The shards will fly out. Fear takes so much damage with the axes until Nature's Prophet will spawn out one of the greater Treants. 1,600 life on a greater tree and spawned from the corpse of Fear.
Man, that Observer Ward has actually won them 2 fights right there. Two big fights, too.
Miracle. I forgot how much damage he takes, even if he does have this Aegis the Immortal he pulled out while all that was going on.
Well, that's the last T2.
Yep.
If creeps can ever get there.
They're still battling it. Backdoor protection is just a bit of a pain in the butt, but they got so many Treants anyway and so much damage, they're okay.
It's crazy how much Moon has been able to farm too. Like Anti-Mage has been farming the whole entire time, but so has Nature's Prophet.
Well, Moon's just taking everything from the lanes, and you're seeing how much it affects the supports, however. You got 4.7k and 4.1k on the Tuskar as well as the Undying.
Okay. They did their job. Their early game's over. They don't need farm.
And Monkeys makes up for it. Like, you talk about that timing, it's like, well, okay, yeah, the supports don't get much in this case, but the timing of Nature's Prophet allows him to push down all these outer towers, and that injection of money kicks into the support, so they're still able to buy up these items if they want it, to get things like Blink Dagger, to finish up almost a mech on the
this is
Undying.
a really good position for them. The high ground.
EG, this is nice. They're going to break it on the smoke. They get the call already. It's over on the Tusker. The Raw will stop the SF here. They might have to reset with Song of the Siren, and that's exactly what they're going to be doing. The Snowball came in from Crit. Now is your time. Samael, is he going to wind up? There's no mana. He can't do it. He actually got burned out by the Necro units. So with no Requiem of Souls, there's nowhere near enough damage. A miracle! He just burns through everything. There is a TP out in time, at least from the Lycan. PPD as well will also be successful, but those Necro units just did so much work in the fight.
It's incredible how well prepared both of these teams are for smokes. The sigil was already in place, expecting them to be there before they even knew. And walking uphill into that sort of fight could just be disastrous for most teams, but showing that experience, just knowing exactly where they are without them actually showing. And we see an unusual build from the Shadow Fiend too. He went for Manta instead of BKB. If he had BKB, yeah, he would have had mana there to cast Requiem, and it might have been a different team fight, but he doesn't want to get roared. And it's a much better item if you actually don't want to get roared. Although you could say that Lincoln's is pretty good too, but Lincoln's isn't as good for farming and pushing out lanes from the Manta. He can't have all three. Pushing lanes and getting off his Requiem and survivability. I don't know. It's a tough choice for Samael. He doesn't have that much gold to work with.
Yeah. And he probably was expecting a lot more gold in this game as well. Like, you're playing a game with the Lycan. Like, if you want someone that can just mow down buildings, you win even half a fight, and he'll just go directly through one of your tier 1 towers. But Monkeys haven't lost a single tier 1 tower. The top one's taken a little bit of damage, so is the mid. The bottom is probably the most injured, but it's not even below 50% of its life.
That's almost a refresher on Nature's Prophet too. I mean, I thought he was farm, but he's keeps exceeding my expectations for his level of farm. It's ludicrous.
And with the refresher up, I don't know if you just saw what happened to Fear then. He copped a Wrath of Nature and lost half of his life just from that Wrath of Nature. Fear's got nothing to work with. And if you're starting to pop off double Wrath of Natures, you're still going to have a creep wave to amplify it. Like, that's your only downside.
It seems like EG hasn't fully transitioned yet to 6.85, relying on heroes like the Naga Siren, for example, which was seen as a pretty good counter to Undying, but it's shaped up to be such a fast game that the 3-minute cooldown on that, as well as the slight nerfs Riptide, has just been killer to most teams, enough to dissuade it. I guess maybe aside from Secret, but EG probably saw some success with Secret. They're like, oh, okay, we can probably still run it too, without actually having been able to experiment it with it too much.
Samael is dead. There is no surviving this one. There's no help as well to come from EG. So that's a full minute with Samal on the sidelines. Man, I think you hit the nail on the head perfectly almost 20 minutes ago when this game was starting. It's just the tempo. It's the pace of this game, which EG
way too
can't keep up with. And I know we're saying that with an Anti-Mage, but Anti-Mage is still doing so much. It's the Nature's Prophet that's adding so much early pressure, and then you're able to have Miracle just come in and capitalize on the situation.
Yeah, what's crazy is they put out that tempo with 4 heroes, and that's just why people think, Undying's a little risky, Tombstone falls off, but when you win the early game this hard, it doesn't matter if you have the late game insurance to back it up, like Anti-Mage. He has Butterfly very soon, and now he's like almost doubling up on Lycan's net worth. That's ugly.
And they don't even have to force this. Like the SF comes up in 16 seconds time. This is also what they did after they won their previous fight. It's like, okay, we won the fight. Miracle pushed in the middle lane, added a little bit of pressure towards the mid, but Nature's Prophet instantly started farming up. Moot knew that wasn't the time to go. He went into the Radiant jungle and just started farming again. Like, they understand when they want to win this game, and they know it's not yet. Getting 1 kill over on Samal is not enough. They're giving respect to what happens if you do get that full Soul Requiem off with the Naga setup. They still have heroes which can die very quickly. Like, a Refresh Orb does not give you stats for a Nature's Prophet.
But the problem is they don't have any vision. You'd think EG would have a lot of vision with Gem, Night Stalker, with Ags right now. The Naga Siren.
You're going to Beastmaster with Gem as well as Hawk and Boar.
The Wolves, that mirror images, but Sumail in mid wasn't able to Manta style out of the roar because he didn't see it coming. They were just severely lacking vision. And I think if First Nighttime would have gone a little bit differently, this would be a bit of a different game because they counterplayed like the Beastmaster roar on bottom, for example, fairly well.
You can see this. It's the Ags that's doing the work. Notal blinking himself over to the lane. And Universe with that gem does keep the vision on him. Chris also going to blink out. And now Miracle just says, screw it. Go in. There's your Mana Void to ensure the kill on the Winter Wyvern. The Tombstone's dropped as well. And this is where Arteezy has to run himself out with that Lycan ulti form. They may not get so lucky. Fear's also on the run out of here. But Miracle with a double kill. Just goes in deeper, turns on the Flutter, and just keeps up with the SF. But doesn't need to chase him underneath tier 4 towers. You've still got Universe in behind the lines, but Miracle is taking out your rank so quickly. Your top lane's being pushed in, and they call it GG. Monkeys will actually defeat Evil Geniuses 2-1 here in the first round match. The GSL style brackets. EG is now one best of 3 away from elimination up against either VP or LGD.
Doesn't matter, bot Midas. Arteezy got one at the end.
The catch-up was always coming, of course.
Value.
Man, 18-1 Monkeys. It looked rough in game number 1, but game number 2 kicked back. There's just momentum. Momentum. Every single game went one way or the other. So I think it's actually time that we throw it over to the analysts because we've talked enough for this one. Let's get the professional thought on the game.
Thank you so much, Toby. Gentlemen, well, we're going to be leading off our MLG event with a bit of an upset. Or is it an upset? It is EG after all, and this may be their comfort spot being knocked down the lower bracket, but my God.
I think after seeing them in New York, I wouldn't call it an upset, just by seeing Vegas Squad and how well they've been performing online and throughout ever since the International, and now Monkey Business the same way. Monkey Business just qualified for MLG first and foremost. They qualified for the Frankfurt Major last week. And they've been performing super well in the defense as well. So it's definitely a team that knows how to play and what they want to play and what is successful in official games, whereas EG has played nothing but that one best of 3 in New York. So I wouldn't say it's surprising, but at the same time it is the best team of the year suddenly facing elimination again in the lower brackets. So in that regard, yeah, definitely an upset.
How many wake-up calls are EG going to need before they can kind of get back in that grind, you know?
I really thought they were back after that game 1. I felt that performance was so overwhelming that it was like, all right, they know what they're doing. And then in game 3 especially, I gotta say, I feel like PPD's usually a genius, but I feel like the draft really went to all shit with the last 2 pickups in the Night Stalker and the Lycanthrope. It just seemed as if it had no synergy, there was no real game plan, there was no answer to the lineup outside of the Naga Siren Sleep, of course, up against the Undying. And then, this terrible misfire that Ben said, more like friendly fire, where Fear, unfortunately, the one situation they have to get back into the game Fear unfortunately releases Sleep too late, and the Requiem of Souls doesn't instant kill the Beastmaster, doesn't get off on most of the heroes, so that was very unfortunate. That was probably the deciding factor between having a worse draft and then just straight up losing the game.
Now, as we were praising so much at the start of the series, how Monkey Business are a team that can always dictate the pace, and I think we saw it in that series.
No, I mean, it was absolutely, you couldn't have drawn it up better for them in games 2 and game 3. You win your lanes, you apply pressure, and the other team just doesn't have space to breathe. And I think the other thing that we saw in games 2 and 3 is that in game 1, Sumail was on a playmaking hero. And in games 2 and 3, he's back in sort of his more traditional greedy farming role, but never really had the chance to make that impact late in the game. But I mean, this is why you come to lanes, okay? For the storylines. We just got to see this young Monkey Business squad prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt, they are legit on the main stage here in New Orleans.
Yeah, look out, they might be the next Vega. We'll have to see. So congratulations for Monkey Business. They're going to be moving on for the winner's side. And well, for EG, they're going to have to go down. And this means that they're going to be going up against LGD. Don't mean to spoil it, but Virtus Pro beat LGD 2-0. So that means that Virtus Pro now are going to be going up against Monkey Business. We'll be seeing that match later on. But with that, we're going to wrap up. We'll go to a small break. But when we return, we got a post-matchup interview. We'll see you soon.